Hey, welcome back. Got another bourbon for you today, not a bonus video. So we will be doing a review. We're almost at 150 subscribers. Can you believe that? Been doing this for, what is it, February maybe, or March? March, April, May, June, July, 5 months. Okay. Hey, we're up to a good roaring start, and I'm looking forward to bringing you a lot more, but let's get into it right after this. All right, we've got John J. Bowman. I've seen a lot of people post pictures of this on Instagram and like it and everything. I have tried it. I will tell you that. The cork has been out, but I did not review it on camera just yet. But I was pretty excited when I got it, so I wanted to give it a little taste. And I do remember a few notes off of it, but I'm going to give you an honest go this time without falling back on that. But before we get into that, I will say this is they state single barrel copper distilled John J. Bowman Pioneer Spirit of Virginia straight bourbon whiskey. Single barrel, 50% alcohol by volume, 100 proof. Now we're getting up there and talking just a little bit. Produced by A. Smith Bowman Distillery. So that is a distillery, Fredericksburg, Virginia. So we'll give her a cork pop here. Ooh, tight. Oh, nice. Yeah, I do remember that that initial aroma that come off there. Let's see. Pour yours first. Be a good guest. And pour this so you can look down at it if you have the visors on, or scroll down if you have a computer mouse. But as always, if you don't drink this, you know I will. All right, so let's pour me a little bit. All right. I like to keep it below a finger in the snifter, especially for these reviews, because I'm drinking both of these. So, you know, if you add that one to this one, you probably got a couple of fingers in there. But I do like to pour below the bulb on these. And I have a Glencairn glass, and I'll show you on it. I tend to drink bourbon out of these types of snifters here. But the difference is the Glencairn has a little smaller base, and it's a little more tulip shaped than these snifters. But the rims on the top are about the same. So it serves just about the same purpose. It funnels the aromas up to a single point. But these are a little smaller base, like I said. And if I pour here, I like to keep it below the center point of the bulb. And here I can get a little more and still be below the center point of the bulb if I'm drinking for fun and not pouring two different glasses. But with that said, let me go ahead and get some air in here. And I can already tell you it's got great legs on it. I can see just from the initial pour. It's got thick beads. It is a higher priced whiskey. I cannot remember how much I paid for this, but I do believe it was over $50. And for it being 100 proof and not 117 or 122 or whatever, that is a pretty decent price on there. Let me nose it. Yep. Okay. On this one, I can tell you from memory, and I'm getting a sense of it now, there's a little cinnamony nose on this thing, but you do get some of the apple and caramels and oaks out of there as well. It is a little punchier on the nose than some, but of course, a lot of those bourbons are 45% 90 proof. This one is 50 and 100, so get your nose back just a little bit. I can tell you this nostril is dominant for me, and I've heard some people talk about dominant nostril, and it only makes sense. I can throw a football better with my right hand, but I am left-footed. And, you know, so I can kick better with my left foot. So it's kind of weird. And when I play hockey, I wanted to use people would comment, you're using a left-handed stick. And I said, but I'm right-handed. But it made sense because I was left-footed. So my plant foot, my driving leg is what was comfortable with the slap shot. So I didn't play a lot of hockey. I'm not from up north, but I did play some roller hockey and things like that. All right, so getting some typical bourbon notes, but there is some spice in it. I will tell you that. Good fat beads coming down. I'm expecting a good tongue coating. So let's go ahead and give her that initial sip. Now this one I'm definitely not going to give too many notes off of because it's a little bit higher alcohol content. And I do remember it's a little bitey. Force that all around. Initially, and I'm not giving you bourbon notes off this, it reminds me of a cinnamon bomb right off the bat. That's the level of spice that this thing has. Not as much of a tongue singe as much as the spice tingle, comes through. Again, I haven't looked up, I have a mosquito flying around in here. I haven't looked up the mash bill or anything like that. I just try to give you a good, honest review. So, but man, the legs on this thing are gorgeous. I mean, they are wonderful. And it does coat very, very well. I would like to have a shot of Hot Damn just to get that cinnamon blast out of the way and then try this. So I may do that someday. There's that creamy. Yeah, it does get softer as you continue to sip on it. Nice long finish on this thing. And that's telling, from the legs on it. I'm expecting a good tongue coating. I'm expecting a longer finish, plus slightly higher alcohol content than your typical lower alcohol content bourbons. Gives you a little warmer hug, but definitely a longer finish. This is a great bourbon for the price, for sure. This thing is complex. I am getting some hints of tobacco notes and leather out of it. But let me go ahead and continue the journey. Much bigger slug that time. Letting that coat around. Wow. That's enjoyable. It's giving me a little bit of that tickle that I like in the top of the stomach. I call it the roller coaster. I get off those barrel proofs. Now this isn't, of course, not quite that big of a drop, off the roller coaster, but it's a pretty good dip. And it's a pretty good, fun little ride. Great bourbon. I would put this against a lot of bourbons I have on my shelf that I really, really love. And I think it stands up very well. As far as having a cigar, absolutely. I would have a cigar with this. The finish is still there. I can still taste it in the back. Muchos enjoyable bourbon. Right on the money. I think it's well worth it. If you see it in the store and you want to build a little collection, this one is definitely one to put on your shelf. I really, really like it. I may do a video on if you want a perfect shelf or something. Of course, using the word perfect and being like the beauty's in the eye of the beholder, it's going to be my opinion of what I think the perfect bourbons are. And to someone else, we may cross lines on a couple of bourbons, but they may have totally different bourbons than me. And to them, that may be their perfect lineup. And I'm not going to argue with it. But if you want my opinion on what I think would be a good lineup of bourbons to have on your shelf, I'll probably bring you that. Maybe the next video, because I just thought about it, because I was thinking if I put this against Blade and Bow and a couple of the other ones up there, and Booker's, the Country Ham, those type of things, exquisite. You can't beat that. And if you don't have the budget to have 60 plus bourbons, like I have, I have so many, I can have some dogs up there and it doesn't really matter. And I can use them to mix or to juxtapose, like I said, against better bourbons to remind myself of how really good these bourbons really are. And, instead of just trying great bourbons against great bourbons, you're going to have little nuances of difference. But if you try what I would consider to be a subpar bourbon and then try one of the great bourbons, you're going to be like, okay, now I remember why I spent this much money, on this bourbon. Oh, absolutely. That is gorgeous. A little hot. a little hot. And like I said, it's not the alcohol singe, it's more the spice in it. But my gosh, it's not that typical chewing on rose petal rye spice, but man, there's some allspice cinnamony stuff going on in here. And like I said, when you first try it, it's a little hotter and it tames as you drink it. But man, that finish is long. Really, really love this bourbon. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. As always, please like and subscribe. Hit that bell down there for notifications, and I promise I'll keep bringing you these videos.